Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of But What Do I Know? I'm Rob Emanuel, and today I'd like to talk about the Ed Shaughnessy approach to playing the jazz ride cymbal rhythm. So I know, pretty exciting, huh? Drum video for one, right? For those of you who aren't familiar with Ed, he was a great jazz big band drummer, was on the Tonight Show for 30 years and played with all kinds of different people over his career. Really a great swinging drummer. When I was a teenager, I had the really good fortune to attend two different Ludwig drum symposiums, which were like multi-day drum events, like 4 or 5 days, where I took classes with these legendary drummers like Joe Morello, Carmine Appice, Alan Dawson, and Ed Shaughnessy, who had this kind of unique approach to playing the jazz ride cymbal pattern. The jazz ride cymbal pattern looks like this when it's written out. And if you look at the crude drawing of a ride cymbal, this is very much like the drawing that Ed passed out to us in class. On this drawing, you can see where your stick should be on the ride cymbal when playing the jazz ride. Over the years, I've gotten a little more specific than Ed did about which part of your arm or hand is used to play each beat. Fingers only for some notes, fingers and wrist for others. And at the bottom of that sheet, you can see your elbow is either out on away from your body, and that's on 1 and 3, or in closer to your body for 2 and 4. So when you put it all together, it sounds something like this. There's the jazz ride pattern, obviously throwing a few other things in there with snare drum and bass drum. The pattern starts with beat 1 being played on the right side of the cymbal, fingers only, elbow out. And for beat 2, your elbow comes in towards your body and you use your fingers and wrist to play that slightly accented count of 2. Now your hi-hat is also on the count of 2, pretty common for the hi-hat to be on 2 and 4, right? So when you come in, you're coming in at the same time as you're closing your foot on the hi-hat. After beat 2, you move back to the right side with your elbow out to play the and of 2, which is right next to beat 3. So you sort of have that and 3. And they're right there to the right with your fingers. From there, you're simply repeating what you just learned. So in other words, you have right over here, your right side, elbow out, fingers only, going 1, coming in, fingers and wrist, bringing your elbow in. You got 2, and then and 3 are right next to each other. The and is just to the left of the 3. So and 3, right? So you get and 3, 4, and 1, 2, 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 and 3, 4, and 1. Now your elbow is going out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. So it's fingers, wrist, fingers, fingers, wrist, fingers, fingers, wrist, fingers, fingers, wrist, fingers, fingers, wrist, etc. A couple of hundred ways to count that thing, sorry, but it sort of gives you the idea with the elbow and the fingers and the wrist, and then the actual count, the 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. So some things to watch for when you're doing this: make sure that you're playing the hi-hat with your foot on 2 and 4. Don't over accentuate the 2 and 4, come in and you 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't want that. You just want 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3. The other thing to think about is don't turn your wrist. A lot of people, when they're learning this, kind of want to put some English on it and go like 1, 2, 3, 4, turn their wrist back and forth. What I try to shoot for is to have the thumbnail facing up all the time. So it's always facing straight up. You're like 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. So the movement, the in and out movement, is totally coming from the arm and the elbow going out, not from the wrist turning like that. If you play German grip and you want to do this, same deal. Just have your thumbnail facing in the same direction all the time, which in the case of German grip would be to the left. So you're going, a right, 1, 2, 3, 4, a 1, 2, a 3, 4, a 1, 2, a 3. And again, avoiding turning the wrist. So why bother with all this side to side and back and forth nonsense? You know, what are the benefits of doing this? I think the real benefit here is that you're getting this kind of instant built-in jazz feel, especially if you're new to playing the jazz feel. Because of the unaccented notes being played out and softly with your fingers, and then you come in for that 2 and 4 with the stronger accent and just kind of moving your arm back and forth. And when you think about it, your arm is truly kind of swinging back and forth. And, you know, they call the music swing, right? So this really kind of just seems to create an instantly good jazz feel. Again, especially if you're new to it. If you're already an experienced jazz player, you might not need this, but at the same time, it does kind of enhance, or it could enhance what you're doing. I think this technique helps you keep steady and more consistent time, because once you settle into the physical motion of this, the out in, you're less likely to change that. I mean, once you start doing that and you're grooving and everything's working, you're not going to all of a sudden compress that motion and start doing it faster or really widen it out. I think you're more likely to just keep the motion at the same size, so that you're playing the exact same movements, so the tempo stays solid. I think it also makes learning bass and snare comping patterns easier, because you can relate what you're doing with the left hand and the right foot to where you are on the ride cymbal. For example, if you're new to playing jazz and you're just learning how to maybe play ands on the snare drum, all the upbeats, you would think, oh yeah, so my cymbal hits on 1, so while it's traveling over to 2 on the left side of the cymbal, that's when I hit the snare. So no cymbal with it, it just goes 1, 2. So the next and, of course, is the and of 2. So now you're out here again on the right side of the cymbal going and 3. So you're going 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so again, you're relating what you're doing with your snare in that case, or it could be with your foot, to where you are on the cymbal. The cymbal is almost counting for you. Your right hand is kind of signaling where you are all the time. Here I'm on the 1, here I'm on the 2, the 1, the 2, you know, the 3, the 4, the 1, the 2. You just start to really be aware of that, especially once you really get this memorized and programmed in. To close out here, I'd like to demonstrate the pattern at a slightly faster tempo. I'll start off playing the rhythm exactly as written. Notice the pattern occurs in a smaller space because of the increased tempo. Then I'll start to improvise and move away from playing the exact jazz ride pattern, which of course is really common for anybody who's playing kind of modern jazz. You tend to break up the ride pattern and not just play 1, 2, and 3, 4, but all sorts of other things. I'll be playing quarter notes, sprinkling in some eighths, reversing the pattern, so you have like a 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'll play some 3 against 4 type of rhythms, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Because of these different rhythms, the Ed Shaughnessy approach, that back and forth idea, kind of goes out the window, because you're not just going back and forth all the time. Your rhythms are constantly changing on the ride cymbal. But if you burn this Ed Shaughnessy thing into your body and your brain by just doing it over and over and over, I feel like it kind of influences your ride playing, even when you're not playing the exact jazz ride. When you are, in other words, playing more broken up and adventurous rhythmic patterns, because I think it sort of trains you to instinctively just play quieter notes in that out position and then come in for any accents you need. No matter what rhythm you're playing, you tend to use that way of creating dynamics within whatever pattern you're playing. Here's a little sample of all of that, and let's see how it goes. Again, starting off a little faster than we've been doing it so far. Gonna stay real strict for a few measures, and then I'll start breaking up the pattern into more of a, real broken jazz type of playing. So thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.